We know we can connect to online data sources such as ODataFeed, even Google Sheets, to pull data into Excel for us to interrogate. What about simply just pulling data from a web page, hopefully one that gets updated frequently so that it makes sense for you to make a connection to it rather than just copy and paste? Well, we can achieve that also. Here's a web page that is of interest to me. Countries in the world ranked by population. So this is from 2014. Now you can see on here that we have China at the top as being the largest populated country. And then we go down, 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 down. And this effectively little frame here has the top 200 and goes down to Antigua and Barbuda, which has 90,000 citizens. So how could I connect to that information and pull that into Excel? Well, all we need is the URL. So let's copy that. Back in Excel, we go to our data ribbon again, new query, from other sources, from web. All it then wants from me is the URL that I've just copied. Paste. Okay. A little pause while it makes the connection. We will then be presented with the navigator, as we are, and we will be presented with whatever data Excel has managed to find on that particular web page. And it's found three lots of information. Table 0, which is my top 200 by the looks of things. So it's from China down to, well, we can see 35, because the preview is only pulling through the top 35. Table 1, which is a second set of data on here, which actually goes from 201 downwards. So we've actually got two lots of information on this same web page. And then we have the document information, which is the metadata, which just tells me that this table sits in an HTML document. Very helpful. Let's take table 0, which is my top 200 countries. I'm going to drop into edit. We have previously gone straight to load, but then noticed, like with the Google Sheets, it hadn't quite picked up the headings and things. So we have headings. Fantastic, we do. And we have 200 rows. Great. Do I want all of these columns? Well, I think for our purposes, we probably don't. Let's say choose columns, and we'll take out the select all, and we'll have the rank, the country, the population, the median age, and let's have the area and the density. Okay, so we've got the country name, so China, population in 2014, median age of 35.7, size of the country in square kilometers, and then the density of persons per square kilometer. That looks great. Close and load, and that will load that information into my Excel table as usual. If the data changes on the web page, all I need to do is refresh, and that will update. So as the population increases or decreases, or any change to the stats here, the median age, the square kilometers, and the density, then I can just refresh and I will get that latest information. So that's the top 200. If I then pull in the second lot of 200, so I go to data, recent sources, so I don't need to go through the first few steps. This is the web page I got things from, world meters. Once the navigator has loaded, I want the second table of information. That's table 1. And we will choose edit again to make sure that that drops into the right columns and rows. Got the headings, great. And we'll do the same as before. We'll choose the columns that we want. We won't have them all. We'll have rank, country, population, area, and density. Okay, and then close and load. And we now have two sheets. One with the top 200, and then sheet 5, which is still loading, which I think has the next 200 countries, or the next however many countries there are. But effectively, it's a continuation of the top 200. And they're all ranked, so you can see how far they go down. 32 rows, it thinks. We could have put all those in one table, couldn't we? 200 and 232. Although the web page didn't put them into one table, it went with top 200 and then the rest, which happens to be 32. There's nothing to stop us using our query editor to merge these two sets of results into one. Now that would be quite useful. Let's go back to sheet 4, which contains the 200, into Query Tools Query, and then Edit. Now what we're looking to do is combine numbers of data, which is this query we have in front of us, and then I'd like to append the second set, or the 32 effectively. Select the table to append. Well, that's table 1. It even helps me out. Notice there, it says table 0 is the current one guy, just in case you'd forgotten. Thank you. Table 1 must be the other one. Okay. That then brings in the other 32 records. And I can see there we have population, median age, area, density. We have a slight issue here in that in the first set of data, it was called population 2014. In the second set of data, it was called population. So they now are not the same. So how could I merge those together, or append them effectively, keeping this population information in population 2014? Well, this is how. I need to go back in my applied steps. So here I've appended the query. Let's remove that, delete that step, and that takes me back to before I appended that query. I then need to rename this column. I go into transform, rename, and I need to lose the 2014 there, so that the column I'm bringing in has the same name. Then I can go back to home, combine, append, don't forget it's table 1 guy, okay. And that will then append the 32 records to the 200 records, making sure that the population columns match. Then I can close and load. It will load the 32 extra rows into the 200 rows. It will rename the column to population rather than population 2014. But I now have what effectively is on the web page 2 separate tables now sat in one table, which means I can then carry out other calculations that I might see fit, working out who has the highest median age, for example, because this is sorted by population. I might want to see sorted by median age, and we can see that Japan is at the top there. And if I sort them the other way, we find that Nigeria is at the other end of the scale of a median age of 15, which means there are a lot of people under 15. We could perhaps want to look at the size of the country. Smallest country there, the Holy See. Largest is Russia. The density, the largest density, so the tightest packed country is actually Monaco. And then the smallest, so small is packed that we have Greenland and Falkland Islands on 0 and 0. And then Mongolia on 2. So 2 people for every square kilometre. That is very sparsely populated, compared to the other side of things, where there are 25,548 people for every square kilometre. This is connecting to data that is just on a web page. Now, if that data is not ever going to change, then you don't really need to do get and transform. You can just copy and paste it into Excel and do what you like with it. If the data is likely to change, such as our population data here is, then we can link to it using the get and transform tools as we've just done, where we're even able to merge 2 separate tables together to create one conglomerate whole of the population of 232 countries on the planet Earth.